Right now is I'm going to mix up a color for the water because I can't do this edge unless I get the first layer in the water at the same time. So I've got a violet here. It's just a very inexpensive violet, and I've thrown some white into it. It's a Van Gogh violet, and I've thrown on top of that violet, I've thrown in a very expensive green umber made by Old Holland. So the green umber and the cheap violet make this incredibly beautiful color. And it's just a gray, but you can see this, it's just a beautiful tone. And I'm going to use my liquid and my white over here to make a lighter version of it. And this is going to be a bit of a transition that's going to give me a sense of the water and just a single coat that'll really let me work on the edge. And so I'm going to put a little more of that green umber into this one. And that green almost looks blue with that touch of violet in there. It's so gray. And so I'm going to have these colors out. And again, I'm not overly homogenizing them. And for this, I'm going to use the same brush. And I'm going to start with a lighter version further back. And that looks a little dark to me, so I'm going to lighten that up a shade. I'm just trying to get some paint down across this edge. And as I come forward, I'm going to switch the intensity of the color and get a little more of that violet showing through. And look at the amount of paint I'm putting down and the length of my stroke. So this is a lot of paint. And again, just like in the forest, I'm using a horizontal application here to separate it from the vertical application there. And I'm trying not to take the paint and spreading it over the area, but I'm loading my brush up and I'm trying to, with a fresh coat of application everywhere I put the paint, I'm trying to leave that paint fairly fresh and pristine. I'm coming out of the palette. I'm using the canvas as a palette in a storage facility so I can lift up some of the paint. But I want to make certain that I'm not blending the paint as I'm putting it down. And I've got a pretty good coat of paint all along this edge now. I'll take the rest of this, and I think I've neglected the middle a bit. So I'll take the rest of the color, scoop it up, put it on the brush, and put a little bit more in the middle. You can mask off that edge. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to scoop up some of that fresh water and start to just use it as a guide to come back and start to play with some structure. And this is all wet on wet painting. And if you haven't done this before, it's a little nerve-wracking, and because you don't really have any control. And you certainly don't have control if you're taking it across into the water. But what I'm doing is I'm just giving myself a rhythm that stands out and helps us indicate trees just by the very nature of how I'm scraping the paint up and laying it back into that canvas. And I'm using both sides of it, and I'm just making certain that where the trees are closer to us, the scoop shapes are larger, so I can begin to put a little rhythm of those trees reflecting into the water as well. And while I'm taking that same color that is, while I'm pulling the paint out to get a sense of reflection there, I'm putting it back into the forest here, just touching it in, and I'll clean up these edges and give myself a sense, without trying to be too literal, I'm giving myself a sense of, and back here it's going to be so far away that the water and the forest are going to kind of meld together. I'll pull some verticals down. I'll take what's left of this paint and mix it with a little bit more of my liquid. And since it's occurring everywhere in there, I'm just going to throw it and slam it in here a little bit, just so I have a little, we have a tendency to be too controlled with our paintings, and there's just a little bit of chaos that is nice.